this is my home server rack. At the moment it's a little bit of a mess, and we're gonna get this cleaned up. So first things first, up here at the top, let's see, there we go. The top patch panel is running shielded Cat6A throughout my house. So all of the cables from the 24 port PoE switch by Ubiquiti is under there. It's a switch 24. I believe it's the 200 watt or the 250, as you can see kind of right there. So that's what's running my access points and security cameras. Below that is another patch panel that I have some other, they're the gray cables going up through the little hole right there. So it's just other ports throughout the house, not rated for 10 gig. And it also has my CenturyLink connection as well as a phone on the far left. So those are split down to RJ11. You can still plug in a RJ45, so normal Ethernet connector, but if you pin it down to a 4-pin RJ11, you can use it as a phone line. So that's why I did it that way, or you can just plug in an RJ11. It doesn't really matter. But you can kind of see this little box right here. That was a phone splitter for back when I had a landline, because I live in the middle of nowhere. So below that right here is my UDM Pro SE. It's running my security cameras with the NVR, and it's got the two 10 gig links. The one going up to the other switch is just a 1 gig link, but this other one goes down to the MikroTik 10 gig switch. I think it's just a 4-port SFP switch. That's one of them is going to this server. It's just a little Dell with a i7, but it's all SSDs. And then this is my main server. This is Andromeda. It's mostly just bulk storage and video media and whatnot. And then this little computer right here is my business mini PC. It's a GMK Tech. I can't remember the exact model. I'll put it in the description below. But that's hooked up to, can't really see it behind cables right here, but it's hooked up to this little switch. So the MikroTik's going into this one. It is a, let's see, GoodTop 2.5 gig, but it's got two 10 gig SFP plus ports. With one of them, it's got this little RJ45 adapter, and that's running to Andromeda. And then I have my UPS. So the plan here is to totally clean out what's going on here. I did forget to mention this little power brick, and this box right here is my Starlink internet. So I got a little bracket for that too. So we're going to get all this cleaned up. It's going to look a lot better. I might actually just take this entire patch panel out or redo the keystones on it and just have whatever's in the rack route through that, so it looks cleaner on the front, and then just have the cables go through the back and plug in where they need to. So that's kind of the plan, and we'll see where we get. So this is Andromeda. As you can see, there's two hard drives right here just based on the two lights. The bottom cage right here is a hot spare. And then on the inside, we have the 6 hard drives, and then a Ryzen 5800X 3D. I believe it's 32 gigs of RAM. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. There's the Quadro P4000, a 10 gig NIC, a 1200 watt power supply that came with the case from another computer that actually picked up this computer from my old job, so I'm repurposing it for my needs. And then one of the upgrades I want to do over the break here is actually swap out this little 4-port SATA card. It's So it's PCI Express to 4 SATA ports. And then there's also this little guy right here. It's an M.2 to SATA card. It's working all right, but I'd like to have that M.2 slot back for possibly another cache drive and just run it on ZFS with the other 2 NVMe drives that are in there. But yeah, that's kind of the plan for what we're going to do to upgrade this. Alright, so back inside, just going to do a quick overview of the parts that I'm planning on adding into the server rack, just to help with the cleanup. First off, I got some of the Monoprice cables, so these ones are the blue ones. I got some short black ones, got some short blue ones, and then I also got these orange ones. So these are, I think, 7 foot. I was planning on doing the orange for the 10 gig, blue for just normal 1 gig stuff, 10 to be internal to the rack. And then I have white on order, but they're not here yet. So those are going to be for my security camera system that's all hooked up to the Ubiquiti stuff. And then in terms of moving things around, I got the nice little bags of rack studs. So these things look like this. So they're a little, let's see, little plastic piece. So you unscrew this right here, and then this little washer, or this piece slides into the rack. This clamps down on it, and then it hangs out of the rack. Then you just twist that on, and you don't have to use screws. It's going to be a lot easier. Then drop this. This is for the 16 port card right here. So I'm planning on putting this into Andromeda. Put that up to the camera. It's a nice 16 port SATA card. So it just plugs into the PCI Express. It came with 2 of these cables. So this one has 6 SATA cables on it, and they're all bundled nicely together. And then there's another one in the box that's a 10. It's 10 of these all wound up together. And then it came with 2 SATA connectors. Let's see. Can I see them like that? The only thing I'm not a big fan of is it's got the Molex plug on this end. So I'll work on possibly swapping that out and just running with what I have, but we'll see what all I need to do for that. I might also add in some rack lighting. I'm not 100% sure on that yet. We'll see how it looks. Like, I have the lights, and when I go to do it, if it looks nice, I'll share it. Otherwise, we'll go from there. So here's a quick little update on where things are at. I've got most of these cables in. Everything's routed and looking good. This is going to one of my access points. These 2 are actually cameras that I need to, as soon as the white cables get here, swap them out with the white ones, but I just wanted to see what it looked like with those 2. And then I also got some of the rack studs in, and I am very happy with how these work. So you can see some of them are right here. But what you do is you basically just take one of these, plug it here, and it pops in just like that. So you go in from the front, and then this little back piece right here that focuses has that little lip. So you put it on the stud. If I can get it. So it pops on just like that. It clicks in. You slide what you want over it. If I don't drop the screw. And then all you have to do is screw on the cap, and you are good to go. So it's super cool. I also ran this orange wire because this is 10 gig going to my home office. Ran it into the MikroTik, and yeah, it's looking good. I also took out the shelf that was right here and the patch panel. Still trying to figure out how I want to do that, but just wanted to give a little update on that as I'm working on it. Alright everyone, so it's been a day. I got the rest of the hardware in here. And I've actually removed everything from the rack except the patch panels that need to be there. And as you can see, I've added in these little lights on the top and the sides. So they're just normal undermounts for cabinets. Just some quick little lights. There's a little control here, so I can change the warmth. They're not RGB, but I'm okay with that. I'd rather have just a cool white. I got the white Monoprice cables in, so those two are cameras. I'm going to be running more cameras here, so that's what that bank is. And then this one right here is one of my access points. So get that plugged back in. It's all locked in, ready to go. The rack studs are in, so I need to remount the 24-port switch, the UDM, and then something I forgot to mention is I got this. So it's a bracket for my Starlink. So it just sits in, wall mounts. I'm probably going to be doing it either off to the side over here or kind of up top. Not sure yet, but here's a little quick update. Got everything cleared out and just need to put things back in. One of the little monstrosities that I found in here when I first set this up was this. So it's a RJ11 male on a single Cat5 cable. So there's two RJ11 to RJ45. The reason I did this was to run phone over the Cat5. Just back when I first bought the house, the only internet we had was CenturyLink, and I had a DSL splitter that looks like this. So this plugged in, and then I was able to split it and put phone anywhere in the house that I wanted. So yeah, just a fun little monstrosity of a cable. Thought I'd share that. All right, so Starlink is on the wall. I got everything re-racked. This was actually really, really close. I'm happy with where that is, but was not expecting it to be that close. I was just trying to do it in line with the stud right here. So center of this was in line with the stud, and then I just had to drill the two for the little wall inserts like this. So I didn't want to have to drill another hole for that. But power's in from this. I'm probably going to cable manage that up through the top of the rack. It's still a little dusty, but the small Ethernet cable that's right here is this one going into the LAN port of the UDM Pro SE. Or not UDM. Yeah, UDM Pro SE. There we go. Okay, so the rest of the rack mounted gear is in. I've got two shelves here and here. I've got the keystone switch panel here. I'm planning on putting the MikroTik and the 2.5 gig switch up here. That way it's just short runs for everything up here. And then I can run the rest of the cables through this, down the back, wherever needed. Before it goes in the rack, this is Comet. It's my Dell Precision 3440. As you can see, I've got a few SSDs just hanging right here. It was laying down, and the side panel actually holds those in. But it's got an i7 and this 10 gig SFP NIC, and it's basically just running all my core infrastructure for the house. Okay, so just about wired up. I got Comet here. I've got the business computer there. We have the 2.5 gig switch up here, and I put the short patch cables in it just so it doesn't fall back if I yank on the power cable. The MikroTik is right here. I'm going to try running it off of PoE and see if that works. And all of this is wired in. These two cables are for going to Andromeda. One of them's a 10 gig, the other one's just for DHCP in case something happens. And then same with this one here. There's a cable, it's one of these, that goes down to, here, let me actually re-angle that. So it's one of these two, goes down to Comet. It's a 10 gig link because it's full SSD server and I can utilize it. And then the other one's just going to the 2.5 gig switch, with this one going to my main office through it's a 30 meter SFP plus to RJ45. And then all I basically have to do left is just clean up this rat's nest of power cables and take care of Andromeda and get it back up here. All right, so here is the final product. At the moment, I don't have the MikroTik plugged in. I'm going to see if I can just run it over PoE. And then let's get this straightened out a little bit. All right, so Andromeda's back up here. There's a little bit of aftermath down here. But this is the first rack power up since the rewire. Let's see if everything starts up. That's a good sign. It's plugged in. We have lights. Let's turn on this computer, and this computer. Looks like everything's up and running. Alright, so the lights are off. Network rack is alive. Everything seems to be good to go. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Until the next one, TJ out.